సాంగ్ అది 'విరాట్ కోహ్లీ' బ్రాండ్ అంట.
ऋतिक रोशन को बैंड, విరాట్ కోహ్లీకి ఒక బ్రాండ్, ఆయన ఎవరయ్యా రౌడీకి ఒక బ్రాండ్. అది ఓకే, ఆయన అంటే ఓకే, ఐ కెన్ అండర్స్టాండ్.
బూచి తీస్తాడు.
వాడు కుస్తీ దానిలాగే ఎంబోజ్డ్ పెట్టాడు తప్ప షర్ట్ మీద ఆ పేరు, నథింగ్ ఎల్స్ ఈస్.
Anusha, you're not in mute.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay.
I thought it's on mute.
Okay.
Hello. Yeah, hi. A very good evening to all of you. So let's just start in 2 minutes, right? So I think some people are still joining in. This is just started in a minute or two.
Amit,
Hello. Hello.
yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay. Yeah. So let's start now. So yesterday what we were doing was we had started off with the topic on to the part of the if conditions we were discussing yesterday, and we were talking on the part of the loops. I think before even I start that. So Radhika, I think you had that question, right? So shall I discuss
Yes.
that?
Sure. You want me to show
So
or do you have it open?
I'll do it. So no problem. I'll just show you to others as well, so that I think that is part, the small part. It's although it's a part of this the dashboard only, the action filters that we create. It's just more elaborated on that. I'll just show you that. Okay. So I'll open one of the files that I already have. Okay. So now, suppose this is the dashboard that we have. So, yeah. See, so we remember we did the part of this. We did one step this topic that was action filters, right? So in action filter, what happens is like we can make the chart to act and work like a filter. So for example, I'm on this. If I say use as filter. Now if I click on California, the data will be filtered for California in all the charts, right? If I click on Illinois, the data gets filtered for Illinois in all the charts. Okay, now see, if you see these are at the top, if you will see, now these are some summary tables, right? Total sales, sales lost, and these are four charts over here, and the top we have a filter. Now suppose what I do is, now there's a requirement, right? It's like what I want is that if I click over here on California, what should happen is that these charts should change, but these two top charts, these should not change, right? These are the two charts that I do not want, and they should be changed when I make or when I select anything in the filters. Now that could be a very valid requirement, right? Because what I'm wanting is that what I want to achieve is that the filter should work only on selective charts, but not on all the charts, because by default it is working on all the charts right now. Okay, so if you have to control that thing, what I'll do now is you come to the dashboard and click on actions. Okay, so what you will see over here is you will see if there were some action filters already, you will see those action filters over here, right? So like I just created an action filter, this one that I just created. So you can see it over here. If you want to remove it, you can do that. If I remove this, and there is one more that I can see, let me remove this also. Right, so if I now remove it, so what you can do is you can actually apply the action filters from this menu also. Right, so now if you see, this will not work like a filter. So if you come to the dashboard and click on actions, you can apply this filter from here as well. So the option that I had shown you, that was a shortcut. If you click on add action filter, this menu will open up. So do you all have it? Are you all, if you can all open one dashboard, so that will just help you quickly. Okay. Okay, so if you will see right now over here, when you click on add action filter, so this menu comes up. Now this menu is very self explanatory, but there are a couple of options that you will see. See at the top, you see there is an option of source sheet. At the bottom, there's an option of target sheet. Okay, source sheet means that which sheet do you want to make, or do you want to act like a filter, and target sheet is that on which all sheets the filtration will happen. Okay, so if you will notice over here, by default, all the sheets are selected, right? All the sheets are selected. That means if I click on OK right now, every chart will work like a filter. And when you will click on any chart, all the other charts will be filtered. See, like if I do that, I simply click on OK. I click on OK. Now what will happen is every chart is going to act like a filter. See, if I click over here, right? Oops, it's not filtering for a second. Is it not applied? Actions. Oh. Actually, I have chosen this menu. See, now if I click over here, data gets filtered. I click over here, all the charts get filtered. So right now what is happening is whatever I'm selecting, the data is getting filtered in all the charts. But if you come back, actions, let me just check this, which sheet is it? This is sheet 3. I come to the dashboard actions. Now let me edit this filter. If I edit this, now from here, I am saying that, I don't want to keep all the sheet as a filter. I want to keep only sheet 3 that should act like a filter. Okay, I want only sheet 3 to act like a filter. Okay, and target means that I want that the filtration effect should come only on sheet 1 and 2 and not on the other sheets. Not on the other sheets. I don't want to filter. Guys, just give me a moment. Sorry, actually it's the morning time over here. So the maid and all, they come up for the cleaning and all. Yeah. So now I was saying, see what I'm doing right now is, so if I click on this sheet 3, so I'm saying that I want only sheet 3 to work like a filter, and target is that the filtration should happen only on sheet 1 and sheet 2. Sheet 4 and 5, they will not be filtered. Getting it? So now if I click on OK, right? So what is sheet 1 and sheet 2? Sheet 1 is this, sheet 2 is this. Oh, sorry, sheet 2 is this line chart. So I'm saying these two charts should be filtered, others should not be filtered. So now you will see if I click on California, right? These two charts are changing, but these three haven't changed, right? If I click New York, again, you can see the same thing. If I click on this, again, you can notice same thing. Only two charts are changing, not the rest of the three. These are not changing, right? Why they are not changing? Because in the dashboard, in the actions, we had defined that this filter that we are applying, when I select something on sheet 3, only sheet 1 and sheet 2, they should filter, not the other ones. Clear? Is it making sense to all of you?
What will happen if we select sheet 3 also as target sheet?
So sheet 3 is the same sheet, the map that we have, right? So that is the same sheet, sheet 3. So technically you won't see any difference in that. So if you see, if you select this part over here, so now you see they just get grayed out. So that was the map of the sheet 3. So it is just showing that name over there because technically it shows all the sheets that you have placed on the dashboard.
So it
So
won't
that just
matter if we chose that sheet also. It won't matter.
Then it's just going to get grayed out. That's it. Okay. Now just two more options that you will see over here. See, when you apply the filter, you have two more things that you can control, and that is run action on and clearing the selection wheel. See, run action on means basically when the filtration happens, when I select something. Okay, when I click on a region, then the filtration happens. I can also choose the option of hover. See, if I click on hover, now what will happen is I will not click on it. See, I am just hovering my mouse and you can all see the filtration happens. So I'm just moving my cursor over here. That's it. Okay. Same way, if I come over here, actions, there is an option of menu. If I click on menu and I click on OK, see in the menu what happened is it is going to give me an option of menu where I will have to click, then the filtration will happen. See, like if I click on California, filtration doesn't happen. But over here, you see there is a button that is coming, filter. Now this is a menu. If I click on this, then the filtration will happen. So probably if I click on now New York, I have to again click on this button to filter. Okay. So if I come over here, dashboard. So what I'll do is I can make it a little more interactive. So for example, I can say, let's edit this. Let me name it as click me to filter. Right. So I've given the name as click me to filter. So if you will see now, what will happen is click me to filter. So the filtration will happen. Yep. Everyone, is it clear? So
Yeah.
can you think of any use case of this type of a filter that you have? That, you know, like why will you like to give this option of click me to filter? Any reason that you can think of, any valid use case? See, I'll tell you. If suppose you have two dashboards, see, because you know when you work in the real-time scenario in the real company, so in one file you will be creating multiple dashboards because data is so huge. You cannot put all the information in one single dashboard because that will make it very clumsy, because you cannot put like 20-30 charts in one go when you have to do a detailed analysis. So what I do is, suppose if I have dashboard 2 with me, okay, I have a dashboard 2 with me. So what I want to do is, I am trying to say, see over here I have a segment analysis. See, although I have the same charts on both the dashboards, I have the same charts. What I will do over here is, so what I'm trying to achieve over here is, so if I select any country over here, I should get an option that if I click on that, it should take me to the dashboard 2 and the data should be filtered according to that. Getting it? So I'll show you something. See, let me add a filter. I am saying dashboard actions and I'll add action filter. I'm adding new filter and I'm calling it as take me to dashboard 2. So I am applying the filter on sheet 3 and now I'm saying source is dashboard 1 sheet 3, target is dashboard 2. It should take me to the dashboard 2 and it should filter the sheets. And I will say select a menu and show, and this also I'll just explain you what this is. I'll just explain. Right now I'm giving it as menu. I click on OK and OK. See, now see the magic. If I click on this, I am getting two buttons. If I will click on this first button, it is going to filter the data on this page, right? Like if I do it, it will filter the data on this page. Done. Now, if I click again, if I click on take me to the dashboard 2, if I click on this, it brings me to this page and you will notice the data is, the data is filtered for that particular state that I had selected. Okay, and over here in this chart, we have the cities. This chart is not at a state level. No, this is at a state level only. So this is at a state. So what I did was I selected California, and now if I click on New York, take me to the dashboard 2. So you see that the dashboard changes to.
Yeah, the values have changed on the segment analysis.
Sorry.
Values have changed in the second chart, but above chart it's still it's not grayed out just for you.
This should also get filtered. This is 1 second. Oh, so sheet 3 because it's the same chart, so that is why it's getting a problem. See, what I'll do is, this is the same sheet that is being used over here. So let me do one thing. Let me just make a duplicate of this and see. I'll show you a practical scenario of this. Now this chart is a state level. Let me add cities in this. I'll add cities in this chart. Okay. And now what I'll do is on my dashboard 2, so let me come back, dashboard, actions. So this is, now what is going to happen is, if I click over here, see now if I select Colorado and I say take me to the dashboard 2, now I will be having the cities of Colorado, just the cities of Colorado. And this chart is showing me the segment analysis of Colorado, right? And same way, if I come back to the dashboard 1, now if I select California and I say take me to the dashboard 2, now it shows me only the cities of California, right? It shows me the cities of only the California. And this is the segment analysis of California. You see it? So basically I'm filtering it from there and I can see the analysis over here. So data is getting drilled down based on that, right? So if you go back and you remove the filter and you come back to the dashboard 2, you will have complete data in this. So you can use this dashboard, as an independent resource also. Like you select something and then the data gets filtered. You can apply the filter over here, or you can filter it from your selection over here and see the detailed analysis of that particular state on this dashboard. So you can drilling, you are actually navigating from one report to another. So this is what the benefit of this filter from of this the menu option is made. So you can, what you can all do is you can try to build something like, try to create a home button, right? Try to create a home button. So what should happen is that if you click on that home, so what it should do is it should take you back to the dashboard 1. So try to do this as a part of your, activity, that it should take you to that. If you add that button, it should take you to that home page. Okay. Have you sorted? So if I show you dashboard and actions again, there is one last option that I wanted to show you. Like click me to the filter, and if I edit this, see, one is run action on. Run action on means that when the filtration should happen. And then there is a second option, that is clearing the selection wheel. Clearing the selection wheel has 3 options. One is show all values, one is leave the filter, and one is exclude all values. See, show all values is like when you clear the filter, right? If you filter something over here and when you press escape, all the data comes back. But if you change that option, and you make it exclude all values, what will happen is when you will clear the filter, the charts will get empty. See, if I filter and I press escape, the charts go blank. Now if I select the make next selection and I filter it again, then the data comes up, and when you press escape, clearing the selection, it makes the chart empty. So this is what happens over here on these charts. Okay. And you have third option, that is leave the filter. So if you click over here on actions, on this, you click on edit. Oops, not this one. this one, and you say edit. And now if you say you want to leave the filter means, see, I filter something and I filter the data. Now this data is for Illinois. If I press escape, it is still, these two charts are still showing me the data of Illinois. If I press California and I filter the data, now the chart is for California. But if I press escape, still this chart is showing me data for, it's still showing me the data for California only. Right? So leave the filter is let the filter stay there. Whatever I have selected, I still should show the data for that particular selection only. Okay. So leave the filter is something that is not used much, right? Because
Actually, in the assignment, that is what we have to use. In the second assignment, they want us to leave the filter so that the values don't change even after you deselect the options.
deselect the things.
Yeah, and there's one more thing in the filter. If you can please edit the filter. If you can edit that filter, there is a last option of target field. You could please explain that also.
Yeah. See, you have selected fields. You are so this target this fields over here.
Yes.
See, this is basically when you want to just, like if I tell you, like for example, if you say just add filter over here, and you want to select a particular field on which the filtration should happen. You want just a particular value should be filtered, not all the things. So you can use that, right? Like for example, you want sales to be filtered out, right? So source this, and you just want to filter the sales in that case. So you can choose those fields over here, right? So you just want that the say, suppose on the chart you are using sales also, and you are using profit also, and some other field, and you want only the sales should get filtered but not the profit. So you can add those fields in this case, right? When you say all fields, everything will be filtered, but when you select only one particular field that you want that the data should be filtered on that, so you can just select that field, only that particular field will be the filtered in that case.
Can we choose different source field and target field?
You can do that. You can use different sources, because right now in this case, so if you will use the concept of data blending, so in that you have multiple this sources that you use. So over there you can use a different source also. Like right now I just have one source in this, so it is going to give me that one single source itself. And in fact you will see multiple sources option you get in this filter also. Like when you choose this filter option now. So when you say apply to worksheets using related data sources, if you have multiple data sources, the filter will work on that also. Okay. Now you can try it. So if you still get any problems, so rather you can let me know. We can discuss on that.
Thank you.
Amit, I have a question in laptop case study. So shall I discuss today or tomorrow?
Sorry?
I have a question on laptop case study tablet. So shall we discuss today or later, Amit?
So we can do it tomorrow. I mean, you want to do it today or tomorrow?
I think it's fine.
Okay. So loops, I hope you all remember, right? Loop and conditions. So shall we do one or two questions on that, on the looping again before we start off? Let me just give you one question on the loops. So I hope you all are able to catch the concept, right? Until now, the things that we have done in the Python. How many of you over here are from the known coding background?
I'm from non-coding background.
Okay, so how are you finding it? Are you finding it easy to use?
Bit difficult.
Because right now we are just doing the basics right now.
Yeah, I know.
let's do one thing. Let's just do one or two examples in that case, and then let's move on. So everyone knows, so if you feel any point that if you want me to go slow or something more examples or something like that, you can let me know. I will definitely take care of that.
Sure, Namaste. Sure.
Okay, so what we'll do is let's create a dictionary today, right? So like yesterday, what we were doing was uh, basically what we were doing yesterday was we had used the loops from the context of list, right? So we created a list and then we were writing a loop to check the values. Now what we will do over here is we will do one example from the perspective of dictionary now. Okay, so dictionary, I hope you know, all of you remember. So for example, I have a dictionary that I'm creating. So let's call it as score. Okay, score is the name of my variable. And how do we create a dictionary? What do we have in a dictionary?
Curly braces, curly brackets.
Curly brackets, right? So I put curly brackets. Suppose I have a student, James, and I am saying the James, he had a score of 70. Okay. And then there is a student by the name of Sam, and he had a score of 80. Then there is a student by the name of, suppose, um, Harry, right? He had a score of 90. So this is a dictionary that I have created. So what is this part called and what is this part called? If you can tell me.
Key and values.
Key and values. Okay. Suppose if I want to see all the keys. If I want to see all the keys. So how can I do that?
O dot keys bracket.
O dot
Keys bracket. No, bracket.
brackets. Right? O dot keys. You can see the keys. You want to see the values. Score dot values. Right? So you can see the values also. And if you see items, so you can see all the things. Okay. Now what I would like to do over here is, suppose let's try to do one thing. Uh, yeah. So write a loop wherein what I would like to do is I would like to display the marks of Sam. Right? Write a loop where I would like to display the marks of Sam. So we are saying is you have to print so student. You can create a variable by the name of student name equal to Sam. So we have to print the marks of Sam now. See, what we do is now, right? If you remember, now this is a dictionary. Okay, in this dictionary, how many pairs do we have? See, you know, one key and value is a pair. So how many pairs do I have? 3, right? So in this data right now, I have 3 pairs with me. So technically, if I say for I in score, okay, if I say for I in score, so how many times this loop will work?
3 times.
3 times.
3 times. This loop is going to work 3 times. Now in this loop, what I'm saying is that if I, because when the first time the loop is going to work, it is going to pick up this pair. It will pick the first pair, right? It will pick the first pair. See, we use keys to match the basically the value that we are looking out for, and value is the output of that. Okay, the value is output of that. So I say if the I is equals to over here Sam, right? If I say if I is equal to Sam, then what I want to do is I want to print, right? What do I want to print?
Value of Sam.
Print I.
The 80, right? The score of that,
Yeah.
the particular that number. So what I will do is I will say print the score that I have of that particular I, right? Score of I will print that, and that's it. I get an 80. Right? If I have to find the score, I could have made it dynamic. So I could have used a variable name also over here. I could have said if I is equals to student name, I get this. If I change the name of the student name, I make it James. So I get 70. Okay. Yep. Are we sorted on this?
So if we just use print score I without the for loop, what will be the output?
Okay, you're saying score I. So technically
Yeah.
score is so the student name, right? You'll have to give the student name over it. So you will say for Sam. It will give you that only the number marks of that 80. So when you say, you know, when you give that key, see, it's like, you know, this what is happening over here is if you have score, this is a dictionary that we have. Okay. Now, if you say in the score in the dictionary, suppose if I put index number, if I put index number as 2, right? Oops. So it's basically, you know, it's not going to take the index because in the dictionary, technically, we don't have the indexing part of the thing. Because instead of indexing, what we do is we use that key number, right? We use the key number, the key that we have. So that is why when I say score of James, it gives me 70. So we don't give index number, we give the key value. So
Can
that
we
is
get-
what we have done. But yeah.
Can we use score dot keys and in the keys bracket we can give the key number? Will that work?
We are saying score dot
Keys bracket bracket 2. Inside the bracket 2.
this one. So key is a function. It doesn't take any input, right?
Okay.
Key takes no arguments. So it is not going to take any input inside it. Okay, so if you do this, it gives you all these keys over here. See, but what you can do is like if you write this over here, scope dot keys, So it doesn't take this also. So this, because it's a universal function, this is going to give you that other values. Okay. So technically, so basically, so in the dictionary, the idea of creating a dictionary is this, that you don't have to give an index number, you have to pass a value, right? If you have to give an index number only, in that case, you will make use of list. Okay, so instead of index numbering, what we have done is we have used some names for that index naming. So that is where we are using the keys, which we call it as, which is where we are using dictionary, which we call it as key, and every key has a value.
But if there are a lot of keys and values in a dictionary, and it's not possible to remember all the key names or key, whatever that key is. So there has to be a way to just print out the key as well as its value. Like,
No,
is
so
that?
just see from here, basically, if you have 30 values, right? You have 30 values with you. Like suppose if I say equals to rand between 10 to 100. Okay, now these are some scores. Now, these were some scores over here. So one way was I saved them as 1, 2, 3, which was in the form of list. Okay, one way was this. Another way was I gave them a name, that this is a Sam, this is the name of Harry, this is the name of Tom, this is the name of Susan. So I gave the names over here. Instead of giving them a normal indexing number, so I have given them the names. So now when I give them a name, so what now happened for me is now I can actually make out that, okay, which students information do I want to see? So whether I want to see the data of Tom, Harry, or Susan. So I can select that thing, and based on that, I can fetch the data from here. So instead of giving a number, now I'm passing the name of that. So that is where I have created a dictionary over here. Getting it?
Yes, but okay. So there is no way to grab a key value from an index point of view. You have to know the key, whatever the key is, to get to.
You need to know the key. Yes, you need the key. Then only you can track the values. Correct. Like in the list, you should need to know the number. Like if you want to print this 50, you should know that what index number it is coming. So in the case of dictionary, you should know what is the name of the key.
Okay.
So yep, so this is what we were trying this thing in the item over here where we saw this. See now if I ask you something about it over here in this code that we have written. Now if suppose I give the student name as something which is not present in this. So what I want to do is I want to modify the above code. Modify the above code that if the name of the student you are trying to search is not present, it should give you output as the student data not available. So can you modify that code? Sora? Student name. You gotta use this straight away else also, right?
Amit, if I used else, but I'm getting this the output thrice because we have three sets in dictionary. I'm getting the output 3 times.
Yeah,
No,
I'm also getting the same.
else part, you know, you will have to take care that how you put it. So that's the
Then
only thing.
indentation error is coming if I am, you know, keeping them out of that if loop.
Out of that, okay, see, what we do is, I'll write it. So I'll just copy this code from here. So now I'm saying for I in this scope, if student name, if I is equal to student name, print, then this. See, what we do in this scenario is, right? So what we do in this scenario is we have a statement called as break. See, right? What we have is we have a statement called as break. Now what I do over here is the moment I find that name, right? It will search in this statement. The moment it finds that student over here, my break, see, if I don't give the break statement, right? If I don't give the break statement, just give me what happens. Now, if this is the code that I have written, okay, in this scenario, if I execute this code, I had the SAM coming only as once, right? Let me do one thing. Let me just modify this over here. This dictionary that I have created. Let me just make a dictionary over here. This copy this. Okay, so now I have created a dictionary in which I am having James 70 and Sam is something that is coming twice. Okay, now if I execute this code over it, see, this is the same code that I had written previously. Now, how many output do you think I will get? One or two? 2, right? So technically, I should have got 2, but what I get is, oh, sorry, I have found it with this name as James. Let me just change the student name and let me call it as, maybe let me do one thing. Let me write James over here, Sam over here, right? So if I write Sam over here, right? So now if you see over here, I am saying the name is equals to Sam. So what I get over here is I get output as 9, right? So why 90? Because what happened over here was the code it executed for the first time and it printed. And at that time, what was the print that was coming? That was output was coming to be as it would have been 80, and then it would have been 90. Okay, so it printed the output as 90 over here. So what I do now is I add a statement of break inside. Okay, now what I do is one second, would I execute this? Now what I do over here is just taking it. So there is something. Oh, because you know you cannot
We
have
can
the same
yeah.
key value. Yeah, you
It
cannot have the
takes
same.
unique value.
That is why it's not just taking that last one over here. You know what I wanted to show you was. Should I? Because you know there are 2 statements that we use. One is break and one continue. Let me just give it another example. Let's just take it apart. let's do one thing. Let's just, I will actually, I'll give you I can, explain you over here only. See, what we do is, suppose this is the dictionary that I have. Okay. Now let me just check this out once. See, I have 3 names with me: James, Sam, and Sam. See, what happens is basically when you write this code over here, when we are writing this portion of the code, so what will happen is this loop is going to work the number of values that I have in that dictionary. Okay, right? Like example, in this case, in this dictionary, what do I have is, I have 3 pairs. So this loop is going to run 3 times. Okay. Now, what happens over here is, now in this case, the Sam was available in the second iteration. Okay, the Sam was available in the second iteration. So what I do is, I am saying break. Okay, if the condition comes out to be true, if the condition comes out to be true, the moment my loop is able to find Sam, so what should happen in that case is, my loop should break. My code should break, right? That means the loop should not go further because it has found its value that it had to give me. Okay. Now, when it gives me that output, what we do in then is, we write just the else part. Else over here, that is print no entry for the name. Okay, you see now, this is where I'm just telling you about the indentation part. So what you see over here is, first we have the for loop. What we are doing is, in the for loop, inside that for loop, there is a if condition, and therefore that if condition there is an indentation. Now, when the for loop will completely run, and suppose it doesn't find that name, so that means the code wouldn't have broken up, right? The code wouldn't have broken up. So if the code doesn't break, that is where I have written the else part. Okay, so in this complete code, if the name is not found, it is going to execute else, and it will give me no entry for the name, right? So if I just come over here right now, if I say then if I is equals to, suppose I see the name as, I can give any name over here, suppose Bill. Okay. Now if we run this, no entry for the name, because what I've done is, I am saying if it finds the name, break the code. The moment it finds that name, the code will break. If the code doesn't break, it is going to go over here as well. And that means if it is coming over here, that means the name was not present. Is making sense? What I'm trying to tell you over here?
But Amit, generally in indentation, the else part is used below if.
It should align with the if, right?
It should align with the if, but what will happen is, if you will align it with the if, it will every time keep on printing that part, right? Because it will check the condition first, and if the name doesn't find the name, it goes to the else part, right? It prints no entry for the name. So if you write it over here, you will get that thing coming 3 times. No entry for the name. Why so? Because when it runs for the first time, it checks the condition, right? So in that case, it doesn't find that name. So it comes over here and it says no entry for this name. Then it will go to the second pair. And over there also the name was not same. So it gives you the same part again. So that is why I do not want to repeat it. That is why I have moved it out of the indentation, where I am saying that this should now run after this part and as a part of next. And if the name would have been available, the code would have stopped there itself. The break means it stops the code. Right away, the code will stop there and then.
Can't we directly use the print command without using else, because it's not anyway falling under if, right? After break, directly can we use the print command?
Sorry, after break,
can't we use the print command directly without using else?
See, after break, you are saying after break. Now you can use it over here also, right? If you say just write like this also. So you make sure that we write it like this. So you can use this way also. So that will also give you the same output. So like for
Yeah,
example, if you
because
now
I am getting confused because normally else will come under if only, right? So if we are going back, then that means there is no need to write else, right?
so else will work without itself also. Without if also the else works. So it's like the condition that you are giving. So if and else works without if also. So
Okay.
what we are doing over here was like in the if condition we were checking the conditions, but else part was something that was executed after the complete for loop was getting executed. Then the else part was done.
Okay.
So you could have written just this part also. That just print the no entry for this. So it's like first this gets executed and then this gets executed.
Okay. Thank you.
Now, like we have seen the for loops, right? Similarly, in the Python we have another type of loop that is called as while loop. Anyone who has some idea on what are while loops?
Did it long back. Forgot about it.
Okay. So see what happens is like in the for loop. In the for loop, what happens is we define the number of times the loop has to run. Okay, like for example, in the while loop, in the for loop, you were saying for I in the list. If in the list there are 5 values, the loop will run 5 times. If in the list there are 20 values, the loop will run 20 times. While loop, what happens is the loop runs till the time condition is true. Okay, it will keep on executing that loop till the time the condition is true. Okay, so while loop is more like a condition based. So that is what the difference between a while loop and a for loop is. So for example, if I say I have a variable x and the value in the x is 1. Okay, now I write a loop over here. I say while x is less than 20. Okay, if the condition of if the value of x is less than 20, what I want to do is I want to print hello. Okay, now if you see what was the value of x, the value of x was 1. Now what is my condition? My condition is while x is less than 20. If the value of x is less than 20, then run my loop. Then the loop will run. Okay, now this loop will keep on running till the time the value of x is less than 20. The moment the value of x becomes more than 20, the loop will stop. Is the definition clear to everyone? Okay. See now what happens over here is if I run this loop. Okay, now if I run this loop, now x, the value of x is 1. Okay, now please understand it. So when I'll run this loop now, when the first time the loop will run, it will check the condition. The value of x is less than 20. So it goes and checks that is the value of x less than 20. Condition till comes out to be true, it will print hello. Okay, now it will come back to the loop again. It will say it will check the condition again while x is less than 20. Now again the value of x is 1. It is less than 20. Condition is true. It will print the hello again. Don't you think the loop will go in the infinity in that case? Because value of x is 1 every time. Every time you will check the condition. Every time you will check the condition, it will be true. So it will keep on printing hello again and again. Do you agree? Yes, class? Right?
Yes.
If I print it, see, it has gone into that. It's printing hello, hello, hello. It's not stopping. right? So it keeps printing hello over here, right? You see, it's again printing, it's not stopping because the condition is true till the time the condition will not fall, till the time the condition will not fail, it will keep on printing hello. I will have to forcefully stop it. I have to forcefully stop it from here. That please stop running my code. Now I'll come back over here. So I need to do something inside it so that the condition should fail. And what I can do for that is I will say x equals to x plus 1. So I will have to add a incrementer. So what will happen now is when the loop will start, initially the value of x was 1. Inside the loop, I am saying x equal to x plus 1. So when the first time the loop will run, at that time the value of x was 1, but when it comes inside the loop, the value of x will become 2, right? Because I have added 1 to it. So it will come outside. Now the value of x has become 2. Now we are checking is 2 less than 20. If the condition is true, it will print hello. It will now the loop will run 20 times, right? Now the loop will run 20 times. The moment the value of x becomes 21, the loop will stop, right? So now if I run this, it is going to print hello 20 times. So you see, I got the hello 20 times because the moment the value of x becomes 21, the loop condition fails and the loop stops. Yes, class. Please try this once.
It's not printing the
Yeah,
result.
it's not printing for me too.
Sorry.
It's not printing the result.
Can you share your screen?
Sure. So if I'm just shift enter, it gives me to this, and there's a star in the end instead of a number.
Star means the code is still running.
Oh,
So the star means the code is still running. One second. So, can you stop it? Just click on the stop button.
okay. Should I run it again?
Let's do it.
Okay. Yeah, it's running now. All right.
Are you able to try it? Now, can you using the table of can you while using the while loop? Can you print the table of 5? And the output should come like this. The output should come like this. Basically, uh, the output should come like this: 5 multiplied by 1 is 5 multiplied by 2 is 10. So can you write a code using the while loop to print the output like this? Yes.
No, that one is wrong. You can ignore that. It's not looking fine.
Yes, Rama. So this is what, like this is similar to thing that we were looking at. See, what we do is, if I have to write that code, see, what we do is, if I say x equal to 1, okay, I am defining a variable x equal to 1. Then I say while the x is less than equal to 10, okay, while I'm saying while x is less than equal to 10, what I would like to do is I would like to print the 5 multiplied by 5 multiplied by, what shall I multiply by x, because when the first time I will run it, the value of x will be 1. 5 multiplied by x is x into 5, right? 5 multiplied by x. Now, when the first time the loop will run, right? When the first time the loop will run, the value of x will be 1, right? Then what I will do is I will say x equal to x plus 1. Now the value of x has been incremented by 1, so x will become 2. You see now, 5 multiplied by 1 is 5, 5 multiplied by 2 is 10, and it goes up till 10 now. So we get the output. This class, have you sorted on this? So I've
Yes.
simply said 5 multiplied by 1 is 5 multiplied by x. Okay. Now, similar way you can also calculate the factorial also of a number, right? Factorial of a number, if you have to calculate, you can do that also from this. So this is how basically, the while loop works. So the difference between for and while is that while is something in which you give the condition and it is going to execute till the time the condition is true. And in the for loop, you define the number of times that the loop has to run. You define that thing in the starting of the loop, right? When you create that loop, you define that thing right over there. So that is the difference between the while and the for loop. So depending upon what your requirement is, you can choose that which loop you should be running, and according to that, you can get your output in that case. Any question until here? So I think, we can take a pause over here for today. So loop, we do it up till right. So the loops we have done. So tomorrow, what we will be doing is, so not tomorrow basically, so we'll have class on Monday. So from there on, what we will be doing is we will be starting with some, how we can import the data in the Python, right? How we can load the data from the Excel file, CSV file, and then what we will do is we will see on how do we create some data, how do we do some data manipulation in the Python itself, right? Some addition of the numbers, the deletion, some joins and all, and then we will see how we can create some charts also, right? So those are the things that we are going to explore. So this is like, the basics, like how we start off with the loops and the conditions and the data structures. Okay.
Okay.
Sure. Okay. So let's connect on.
I have one question. Regarding the Tableau, you shared a document, right? So I mean, I couldn't get the data, so it asked me to install plug the. Sorry, 1 second. So yeah,
Your voice is breaking a little bit.
okay. So I mean, you shared the Tableau cookbook, right, Amit? Okay. So it says there is some data in PAC-T. So but I couldn't get the data to work on it. So you said there is a data on the PAC-T link.
So there is you'll have to create an account. So there is an account that will have been
created. Yeah, I created it, but it's asking for the code or book name what we need to download.
Let me check. Let me share those data sets. So let me download them. I'll share them with you.
Okay. Okay. Thanks.
And I hope you all are practicing on the SQL also. So don't miss on that part, because otherwise, you might miss that SQL. But if you want some more practice assignments on the SQL, please, I'll do that today. SQL case studies, if you want, I can upload some more. I have a couple of them.
Yeah.
Hi, Amit. This last one, the multiplication, it is not working for me. Can you check it once?
Which one?
This last one, the 5 multiplication table.
Oh, okay. Can you share your screen?
Yeah.
Oh, it's click on stop. It has gone into some infinite loop. Just click on the stop. Yeah. So m equal to 1, and you are saying while m is less than equal to 1. Yeah, now done it.
Okay. I stopped it previously. I thought it stopped.
If you ever see this star button coming up, so sometimes it happens that the code might be, you have not selected something completely. So star means the code is still running. So if that happens, just click on stop and rerun it.
Where is that star comes?
You see this written 3 in 3 line, the line number 3. The left side, blue color in 3 is coming. 3 is written. This one. So this 3 is written over here. You will start getting a star. You start getting a star over here.
Okay.
Asterisk sign.
Okay. Thank you.
Amit, I was reading there is a d.iter_items function. Iter items function where which we can print out all the tuple keys and values.
Keys and values, both the things will be printed.
But I'm just trying to find if there's a way we can somehow have an index or something. If we don't know the key name, then.
So, see, like idea is this, right? So basically, you don't know that you don't have the indexing for that the keys over there. So you will find the values with the help of the key that we define. So that is why we have defined key and values. If we could have used the index number only, so that is where we would have used list in that scenario. So that is, I mean, the whole idea is.
Okay.
So that is different, the data structures, the list and the dictionary.
But in list we don't have key value pairs. It's more like an array, right? We just have values.
Yeah, in the list you just have the values. So you have the score, right? First score is this, second score is this, third score is this. But you wanted to give some value. See, because right now what will happen is you will actually see that in the dictionary what we were doing was we still had just only key and value, but we will be now seeing how we load the data from Excel and all, where we will be working with the data sets. So over there, also you will have like indexing number, but when you have to find the data by a name, right? Like you want to see the data of a particular student, you will always be using that value only.
Even in
So
real-time scenarios, like even in office, we'll know key which we want to find out.
sorry.
Even in real-time scenarios, you're saying we'll always know what we need to find the value for. But like,
Yes, you will be knowing it. That what
Okay.
values you have to find out.
okay,
Right? Let me do one thing. Let's on Monday. What I'll do. Let's do some more questions on practice only, so that we get clear on this. So I'll just bring some questions. So we'll work on that.
okay. And will you be sharing something? You were saying yesterday you'll share.
Yeah, actually I just forgot that. I'll do it today. I'll just do it right away only, so that I don't
Yeah.
miss it. Yeah, I'll do it right now. Okay, thank you.